Good day, folks. Asriyakal, Adab, Namaskar. Bobby Chandra Sanjeev from my studio here. Today I talk about a very sensitive topic: how our religion, our majority religion, is just heading towards depredation and lumpenization, and how this religion has been weaponized, criminalized, and politicized. And you see that in these cover yattras, right? And you see, I played the tape above it. I videoed it. This is the main highway, and I think National Highway 48, which is running concurrently to the Indira Gandhi International Airport. And in the middle of the road, there were these trucks blaring music, and you saw the facial expressions of the half-drunk and drunk people, and they get off, and then they run behind. They pretend to run behind these trucks, and they get on, take a swig, and then they run again. But what it does is to the traffic, and you see some of the banners running by, traffic jams. My cousin tells me on the way to Haridwar, back from Haridwar, on the days the covers were coming back, the highways were shut. They were forced to take side roads. I mean, is this country going in the right direction? Is this religion for real that allows this? Commercial activity totally stopped. Look at the trucks pile up. Look at the amount of losses that companies are going to incur. It's eventually going to impact employment. It's going to impact economic growth. Is this why we're headed? And all because of clear criminalization, politicization, and absolute monetization of the religion. Everything is about money. Shivakam, money. It's everything about money. And all you can see when you see these covers are lumpen, uneducated, undereducated, unemployable Hindu youth of the poor class. Do you see anybody, as rightfully said, is anybody's minister carrying the cover? Is Modi going to carry the cover? Is Shah going to? Shah is anyway not a Hindu, right? Is anybody, is Yogi going to carry, his kids going to, I mean, he doesn't have kids, but any ministerial kids going to carry the cover? Absolutely not. They're going to enjoy it and going to enjoy the cream of these covers who are being, criminalizing and politicizing this religion, and it's just shameful as you see this weaponization of how Hanuman has suddenly become such an angry god when he technically is not. But we're turning into an angry country. Obviously, we're trying to turn into an angry country, right? It's this incident. Like I said, what I saw, my cousin told me about how he was rerouted. Took him 18 or 15 or 16 hours back after immersing the ashes, right? With something that should have been highways. Actually, should be. I mean, logically, in any other country, the highways would be for cars and trucks, etc., etc., and the side roads would then be properly done up for the covers to move through them. And that's an easier way to do it, right? You keep everything going, right? The second most despicable incident that I can talk to you about is this gentleman. He videoed it. He didn't video it, unfortunately. He called 100 where there was this guy was mercilessly beating this beggar. And guess why? Because apparently that guy had fed rotis to a cow, and this poor beggar or poor hungry soul went and took some of those rotis to eat himself. This guy tells me, this doctor, that he could have beaten him to death. Is this what our religion has come to, folks? I don't know. I mean, these friends of mine, these Vedas teaching, that this is not what Vedas taught. This is not what anybody taught. But we need to do a self-approachment. We need to look inside and see where our religion is going, and not just blindly follow these paths to a really, really deep end and into a dark zone. Cheers.
पेट्रोल लेके आओ, पेट्रोल लेके आओ फटाफट, पेट्रोल लेके आओ, बोलो पेट्रोल मंगवा रहे, पेट्रोल लेके आओ, काम करो इसका जल्दी, इतने मत यूं बजा देगी.
The CGI has been pretty active, right? He says CGI, and nailing it on the head, CGI media house with other business interests becomes vulnerable to external pressures. HC rejects Ashish Mishra's bail plea in Lakhimpur violence case. Thank God for that. There's a limit to which you can target judges. Justice Chandrachud, this is like I spoke to you about, that troll armies against these 3 judges. And constitution meant for every citizen of India, says CGI Ramana. Absolutely true. But hey, when that is the case, how does that work when you have this? ED has powers to seize, search, arrest, stop court. Now he says that, right? 100 queries in 11 houses, ED's questioning of Sonia. What I'm saying is, when you have this kind of liberal, your personal rights are totally smashed. In MP village, Dalit girls can thrash for sending her to school. What are we talking about in terms of constitution? Ready for encounters will go ahead of UP, Karnataka, ahead of UP, says Karnataka minister. Gung ho, Karnataka minister. What is this? Where is the constitution? Saffron outfit raids Bangalore pub, cops say minors were at party. Again, thrashing the constitution. Haryana meat shops to stay shut for 9 days. Eh? What about my rights to eat meat? Delhi cops next 2/3 of pleas seeking not for peaceful stirs. Where's my right to protest? Opposition intensifies stir after 20th MP in upper house suspended. Your Lok Sabha being shut down. 19 opposition MPs suspended for this week in Rajya Sabha. Record 19 opposition MPs suspended for this week over ruckus in Rajya Sabha. The point is, folks, while CGI says very clearly, Constitution meant for every citizen of India, everything that's happening on the ground is anything but that, folks. Everything that's being done is to take away personal freedoms and personal liberties and personal choices. Let's wake up and smell the coffee. Cheers.
आज के इस बुलेटिन में मैं आपको कई बड़ी खबरें बताऊंगी, लेकिन शुरुआत कर रही हूं बेहद दुखद खबर से, जिसके बाद ये सवाल और ज्यादा गहरा हो जाता है कि क्या ये धर्म है या अधर्म। ये देखिए, कांवड़ियों ने कांवड़िए को ही जान से मार डाला। कहा सुनी हुई थी सिर्फ ओवरटेक करने को लेकर, और उससे वो कांवड़िए इतने उत्तेजित हो गए। जी हाँ, वही कांवड़िए जिनके ऊपर यूपी पुलिस आपको हेलीकॉप्टर से फूल बरसाती हुई नजर आती है, वो इतने उत्तेजित हो गए कि उन्होंने इस कांवड़िए को मार डाला। और ये कांवड़िया कोई और नहीं बल्कि हमारी सेना का फौजी था। इसकी मौत से 2 दिन पहले ही छुट्टी लेकर सिर्फ कांवड़ ले जाने के लिए आया था। आप सोचिए कि हम क्या बन गए हैं। ये किस तरह का धर्म का प्रदर्शन आखिर हम लोग कर रहे हैं। मुजफ्फरनगर के सिसौली गांव के रहने वाले कार्तिक बलियान, जो कि फौजी थे, उनके परिवार के पास इस पर कितने सवाल होंगे, लेकिन उनके सवालों का जवाब कौन देगा जब आपको खुद ही पुलिस फूल बरसाती हुई लोगों पर नजर आती है। उनके खिलाफ वो क्या ही कार्रवाई करेगी, अब आप सोच लीजिए। कांवड़ियों की इतनी हिम्मत कैसे हो रही है कि वो धर्म के नाम पर अपने ऊपर इतनी बड़ी शील्ड लेकर घूम रहे हैं कि वो कुछ भी हरकत करेंगे। ओम थानवी, जो कि वरिष्ठ पत्रकार हैं, वो सवाल करते हैं, क्या अब भी किसी को उदात्त हिंदू धर्म और इस दौर के उग्र हिंदुत्व में फर्क नजर नहीं आता? बिल्कुल, आप ये हेडलाइन देखिए इस खबर की, इस अखबार की। कांवड़ियों में संघर्ष, फौजी को लाठी डंडों से पीट कर मार डाला। जी हाँ, ये 21वीं सदी में हो रहा है और ये सब कुछ हो रहा है आपकी आंखों के सामने।
So this is a statement which the Prime Minister made in Tamil Nadu. A strong government isn't restrictive but responsive, PM in Chennai. Well, I would beg to differ, and I've seen this strong government or Indira Gandhi's strong government. It absolutely does not deliver. Modi hails education policy, says space for freedom greater now. I'm not so sure how. NEP fuses Indian ethos with global outlook, says Shah. I'm not sure what. I mean, I'd like to get the understanding of what the Indian ethos is. And this is what's just when he's leaving, and that's why when Naveen Kumar comes out, he nails him. He gave him a really good welcome, Stalin, but when he was leaving, he really kicked him where he shouldn't have been. Those trying to impose one faith, one culture, India's enemy, says CN. Guess who he's alluding to? Evil forces attempting to impose one language, one religion, says Stalin. So, nailed him right there and then. And because of what this is, right, the imposition of a unitary concept of religion in India is, you really can't force it down South India, and the other place you can't force it down is the Northeast, especially in the country like Nagaland. So you have this peace talks halted after RSS objections, NCNA. Now, who was RSS to object is something I want to know. And also the story has come up in the presser, in the Congress presser, which says that there were almost like, there's a story being done, investigative reporting, where almost 35-40 young girls, tribal girls from Assam were lifted by the RSS and taken to Gujarat for indoctrination. Where are we headed, folks? This is what the challenge for all of us liberal thinking people who want our kids to grow up in a vibrant, thinking environment need to stand up and smell the coffee. Cheers.
जय श्री राम। कैसे हैं आप लोग? क्या बढ़िया सावन चल रहा है ना अपने योगी जी की सरकार। बम बम। बताइए, कभी ऐसा हुआ कि कांवड़ियों पे हेलीकॉप्टर से फूल बरसाए जा रहे हो? सुना कभी आपने? योगी है तो मुमकिन है। केवल योगी जी ये काम कर सकते थे। बिल्कुल अद्भुत नजारा था, और ननकू तो साहब गायब हो गया है। तो कांवड़ियों पे फूल वूल, तुम्हारे लिए ये खुशी की बात है? तुम्हारे लिए डूब मरने की बात होगी कि पत्रकार होकर तुम ऐसी बात कह रहे हो? भारत का संविधान बना था तो वो पंथ निरपेक्षता, मतलब राज्य का धर्म नहीं होगा। क्या कांवड़ियों पर फूल बरसाने से सारी समस्या का निदान हो जाएगा? जो घर का सिलेंडर यूं करके बढ़ गया है वो कम हो जाएगा। पेट्रोल डीजल यूं हो गई है, कम हो जाएंगी। तुम्हारे बच्चों की फीस 3 गुना हो गई है, कम हो जाएगी। बैंक की EMI कम हो जाएगी। कुछ कम नहीं होगा। तुम उन मुद्दों पे बात ना करो, इसीलिए फूल बरसाए जाते हैं। मैं नास्तिक नहीं हूं, मैं शिव जी का बड़ा उपासक हूं। मैंने शिव जी के लगभग सब धाम में दर्शन किए हैं। मुझे कांवड़ियों से कोई समस्या नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे समस्या यह है किसी नेता का, किसी विधायक का बेटा क्यों नहीं कांवड़ यात्रा में जाता? क्यों नहीं मंत्री जी अपने कंधे पे पालकी उठा के कांवड़ यात्रा में निकल पड़ते? क्यों नहीं योगी जी कहते कि सारे मंत्री चलो कांवड़ यात्रा पे? क्यों नहीं मोदी जी कहते सारे मंत्री चलो कांवड़ यात्रा पे? कांवड़ यात्रा पे जो जाते हैं वो बड़े गरीब किस्म के, बड़े गरीब परिवार के लोग होते हैं अधिकांशतः।
So the party or its components that never participate, or the mothership that never participated in any of the freedom movements, in fact were the best buddies of the British. are now trying to somehow co-opt the 75th year of the independence, which kind of turns into difficulty. So when somebody says Azadi celebration turning into mass movement, says Modi, I feel like having a big laugh, a yawn rather. PM Prez-led Vijay Divas tribute. Now, Vijay Divas has become such a good thing, such a big thing because it was under a BJP government. But just remember, it was a defensive action. After those, we had allowed, let our guard down, and they controlled our territory, right? And then it also needed Clinton's intervention to get them off. But the point is, there was valor, but this is hardly something else. The war that needs to be celebrated is the 71 war. That's the real victory. And 65, a close second, right? Over 30,000 kg of drugs to be torched today across 4 cities. This is celebrating our mass movement of Azadi. 2 IF pilots killed as MiG-21 trainer jet crashes near Barmer. Again celebrating, right? Used tricolor on social media, hoist flags at home, says PM. I've been doing this for many years. I never got any accolades for that, but why do it? And what's the big deal, right? Aim to have flag hoisted in 200 million households as official. Is this going to give them a job? Is this going to give them rosy roti? Is that going to feed their stomach? You tell me, guys, you tell me. A flag business unfurls in Gujarat with corporate government partnership. And this, folks, is the real story, right? Broken by Bihar, broken by Nitish Kumar. And let's see Gujarat. Grief shrouds villages in Gujarat, Hooch toll at 42. Then you have after 4 Gujarat youths with high IELTS score fail to speak in English in US court, cops begin probe. Now this is Gujarat, right? So when you see this and he makes this statement, vision of India's future linked to gift city PM, again the gift city that he's creating, the gift city just cannot take off in a state that is illiberal, that doesn't allow liberal thought. There's no, I mean, you know, with all these centers that you have in common with financial centers, it's just absolute liberal way of thought, eating, dressing. It's not structured. I mean, can you imagine you can't get beef in Gujarat, or you can't get meat in Gujarat. You need a passport or license to get booze. Who is going to come and set up shop? I don't know, except the suckers and the kiss-ass folks. That's what I think. Cheers.
मोदी ने देश को मिट्टी में मिला दिया, मिट्टी में मिला दिया है युवाओं के भविष्य को, मिट्टी में मिला दिया है गरीब आदमी के सपनों को, मिट्टी में मिला दिया है रोटी रोजगार के अवसर को। खासकर उत्तर प्रदेश में तो किसी की हिम्मत नहीं होती तीखे और सीधे विरोध की। ऐसे में अगर कोई नेता सीधे मोदी और उनकी नीतियों पर हमला बोलता है तो यह न केवल हैरानी पैदा करता है बल्कि डर भी लगता है। आपको याद होगा, नरेंद्र मोदी 28 जुलाई को जब चेन्नई पहुंचे थे तो तमिलनाडु के मुख्यमंत्री स्टालिन ने मुस्कुराते हुए उनका जबरदस्त स्वागत किया था, गुलदस्ते और स्मृति चिन्ह देकर। लेकिन उनके दिल्ली की तरफ मुड़ते ही स्टालिन ने ऐसा दहला मारा कि बीजेपी हिल गई। उन्होंने भाजपा और केंद्र सरकार पर जमकर निशाना साधा। उन्होंने कहा कि लोगों को अभिव्यक्ति के अधिकार से वंचित किया जा रहा है और इस प्रकार की सोच और नीतियां जन विरोधी हैं जिन्हें हरगिज स्वीकार नहीं किया जा सकता। जी हां, तमिलनाडु के मुख्यमंत्री एमके स्टालिन ने एक भारत, एक भाषा, एक संस्कृति, एक सोच, एक सभ्यता जैसे नारों की धज्जी उड़ाकर रख दी है। उन्होंने कहा कि भारत पर एक भाषा, एक धर्म और एक संस्कृति थोपना संभव नहीं है। स्टालिन ने भाजपा और नरेंद्र मोदी की सोच पर हमला बोलते हुए कहा कि जो लोग एक भाषा और एक धर्म को बढ़ावा देने की बात करते हैं वो दरअसल हमारी एकता को तोड़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और वो राष्ट्रवादी नहीं, भारत और भारतीयों के दुश्मन हैं। इस दौरान स्टालिन ने डीएमके के सदस्यों सहित 27 सांसदों को निलंबित।
With a brave front, Sonia Gandhi, the way she's handled ED has given a lot of strength to the opposition. And actually even Samajwadi Party and people close to Akhilesh are beginning to acknowledge that the only person fighting on the block is Rahul Gandhi. And that's true. And the Congress in a sense, because they are coming out daily with pressers and taking on the government head on. Is it G20? And this has forced the G23 leaders back into the fold. G23 leaders come to Sonia's defense from the ICC platform. No consideration to Sonia's age and health, says Congress. True, she's 75 years old. First you have Smriti Irani all over her. You know, it's like a David versus Goliath kind of story. And then you have all kinds of the Sonia question for third day, no fresh summons. Like that, they don't have anything to ask, right? Delhi High Court directs Congress leaders to delete posts. This is about Smriti Irani. I'm not sure why, right? They don't come out as quickly when the BJP trolls put false news against the Congress, right? Rahul others detained during Congress march, like I said, fighting a hey, quiz for 6 hours. Sonia tells ED Vora handle AGL transactions. And this is the important part, right? After blow hot, blow cold, Mamta may reach out to Congress. Mamta really doesn't have a chance after especially this gentleman who got nailed in this ED raid, right? Slip of the tongue, Adhir apologizes to President, right? Now here's the thing, right? Bengal, that's why our languages, plethora of these languages sometimes make it difficult and you've got to accommodate. But Smriti Irani, no sense at all, folks. Cheers, Jai Hind.